We're good to go, Bri?
We'll just start like right now.
But we already tested the sound. How do we know I'm still good?
I hear you.
My voice sounds gravelly.
That's a good thing.
Is that what I sound like?
Me too. We sound the same. Just kidding.
Maybe pull it a little closer. I think that would be good. And then, I think we're good.
I think you sound great. Okay,
All
we're
right.
good to go?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to record the intro later. So, what's up, guys? I'm so happy to be here. This is exciting. First of all, Brian, good to see you.
Good to see you
again.
too.
Brian's like co-hosting now, partly
Sometimes.
because he has a studio.
Yeah.
You look great today. We're both wearing shoes.
Look at me. I got my yellow t-shirt.
The costume, Brian.
Thanks.
Right? He does. Last time we did this, it was our first time doing it with the cameras here, and we didn't realize what the framing was. So both of us had no shoes on, and my weird foot fetish fan guy was like, I love the podcast with your feet in it. And I was like, I'm never doing that again.
You gotta reach out to a diversified crowd.
I think so.
Give him each some attention.
Right?
In a special way.
Guys, I'm so excited about my guest today. I don't want to say former wrestler because you're still wrestling, right?
Still wrestling.
You're still wrestling and doing stand-up comedy, and do you act as well? You're
I act as well.
part-time actor. Rob Van Dam!
The whole fucking show.
Oh! Brian knows a lot more about wrestling than me, so I was like, Brian, you're in charge of all the wrestling questions.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Brian also was he booked me doing comedy this comedy store that was like 4 years ago or 5
I
years
think it was
ago,
like
or-
longer because you
I'm
did
bad
my
with
podcast a long time ago, and that was like
Yeah.
7 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it was a while ago. It's crazy how time
I
flies.
started doing stand-up with Tim Chismeyer. It was like 2007-ish.
Yeah,
2007.
I remember him.
Shortly after that.
Should I know who that is?
He
Tim-
had a. You should, because he had a nude show also.
Yeah, he's a nude
What
comic.
does that have to do with me?
Because someone asked you to do one of those recently.
Oh, a nude podcast.
No, okay, this was a nude stand-up show. No cameras allowed. You go
I
in.
should hope so.
You
Which
perform
wasn't
nude.
the one that I was part of, by the way.
Yours was
Don't look for that.
photographed?
Don't look for that.
That's how Rob. That's how Rob got started as a Chippendales dancer.
Oh shit! I love
Chismar's
Chip and
show.
Dale. Wait, so this guy had a naked stand-up show?
Yeah.
Sometimes.
And you didn't do
he
that
does-
one?
No.
Because I
But-
would come to that.
But he's a nude. He does like nude bike riding too. That's like an annual event or something. And
Yeah, he
they
does
ride
weird
bikes.
stuff.
Wait, I think that's a LA thing. I think
Yeah.
I've heard about that. I see now that I
you
would
would do?
maybe do. Yeah, but just because like the crotch part is covered by the seat.
All your fans would be like next to you on like scooters, just fucking with their GoPros.
I know. It's funny though because I'm getting so like this whole thing with Sarah Silverman showing her nipples on Instagram. Have you seen this?
Negative. I'll check him out.
I know.
She got banned for a
I will
minute.
now.
Well, what happened was she took a photo. It was a selfie, okay, but she took it like you know, like if your medicine cabinet has a mirror in the back, so you have like a bunch of medicine bottles, whatever. So she kind of took a photo where you could see nipple, but there was kind of like bottles blocking a little of it. Like you couldn't see everything.
Right.
And you couldn't even really see her face. And she posted it, and Instagram took it down and called it obscene. And then she started posting all these photos of dude nipples.
That I've seen. I missed the original nipple
Yeah.
of hers, but of course I cut all the dude nipples.
You can find the original Sarah Silverman nipple shot. You're welcome, Sarah. On Twitter. It's still there.
Oh, okay, we'll go take a look at it there.
But I mean, the thing is, now she's taking like girl photos and superimposing like man nipples and stuff because her whole.
then it's okay.
And then it's okay.
Yeah,
It's just so weird.
She's showing a lot
That
of
is
fat dudes because it looks like a
It
tit.
looks like a tit. Yeah.
Yeah, the
So-
laws of control are weird. By the way, I mean, I was just looking at Instagram on the way here, and I was thinking like, wow, that's what they do is they push it as far as they can. I'm not gonna mention her name, but
Yeah.
one of the Instagram models, whatever you call them, she's her top is like pulled up so far that you see all the under boob you can handle.
Right,
you know?
right.
Right.
It looks like you're seeing like her whole tits,
Yeah.
but and then she's got like a little plate of food covering her crotch, and she's
Hilarious.
naked, and it says all you can eat.
Nothing like a good underboob.
It's
Yeah.
like but you look at it, and I'm not saying that I spread it open, but I did. And,
He zoomed in.
yeah. and
You're
it's
like, what is
wow,
on
that?
that? Yeah, what are the toppings on that pizza? I need to know.
You're like,
yeah.
after I was zoomed in 10 times magnification, I noticed.
It's hard to imagine Sarah Silverman's would have been, more risque than.
Well, that was kind of her point was that
Sure.
like the photo was really it really was kind of like an artistic looking. There wasn't. I mean, it was sexy because it's boobs, but
Pharmaceuticals are sexy.
I know.
So there's medicine bottles, right?
Right?
But I mean, I've posted photos where I've been in something sheer with no bra, so you can see a nipple really, but it's just
Where's
not.
that? I'm gonna look for that.
You gotta go way back.
It's weird because you can see more boob in some of those things. Like it's totally see-through on some of these outfits.
That's kind of what I mean. So,
Yeah.
And her point was just sort of like, when is it considered obscene and when is it like, so if it's your nipple and you're doing it in like a way that's sexy, it's obscene. But if it's just like, if your breast, like, would they take down a photo of a baby breastfeeding if you could see the top of the nipple? Probably not.
I don't think they should ask when is it obscene. They should ask why is it obscene? Because it's just a fucking.
Well,
It's a nipple.
That is like a standard though with society. Like it's okay to look at a vagina if you're watching a baby come out. They show births,
right,
like on TV.
You're right, but no porn.
Right.
Yeah, you're right. That's an interesting. So basically, it depends if you're jerking off or not. Is where the line is.
I think so.
We could show you cutting open a nipple to put in an implant. We could show all sorts of shit, but
which would make like the National Geographic illegal.
Yeah.
I mean, I know a lot of people that I don't know them, but people will be jerking off to
National Geographic
cows and animals and shit. Come on, you get.
I know. Well, how do you
There's
think?
more crazy people than less crazy people, don't you think?
That's true. I mean, how do you think those Snapchat filters started with like the monkey faces and stuff? Like some guy was like, I want to see a woman with a monkey face, and that's how it happened.
Yeah,
there's
I
some
think.
weird wired people.
She would look awesome
I know.
with horns.
Right. I know, it's all weird. I don't really understand. I just think, like, well, if you think about it, we're the only country, I think. I mean, other than countries that are really extreme, like where women cover their whole body. But I mean, you go to Europe, you can just go to the beach with no top on. It's no big deal.
I do it all the time.
Yeah. I saw a chick at Santa Monica with no top on.
Really?
Yeah, and she was hanging out for a long time.
Nobody told her. Like,
Eventually, someone came over, but it was probably an hour and a half before anybody.
awesome.
Who's gonna say something?
Right.
It's time to make changes, like equality. I'm not just saying this so I could see as much tit as I want. I'm just saying it because I mean it's a bonus, but like it's silly. It's just the same as a dude sometimes.
Well,
like,
if we let tits be free, eventually the stigma, like I feel like everything would come down, like sex crimes, like it would become not that big a deal.
Yeah.
Just like if they legalized like all the drugs.
Yeah, totally.
You know.
But like if the thing was that we normalized nudity to the point that it wasn't as exciting, would that be a good thing? I mean,
maybe not.
I don't know.
I see what you're saying.
Pros and cons.
I see what you're saying.
Less rape.
Yeah, less rape is right there. That's enough.
Probably more.
Less
Less
rape,
sex
but-
overall, though.
Yeah.
Less love making too, probably.
Yeah, and then it's not as and then guys though would get more turned on by like when you send them a picture of you in like clothes.
Yeah, right.
They'd be like, "What's
Or you
under
just have to
there?"
get more extreme, like show them your butthole close up and stuff like that.
You know
probably
how I
already
feel
do
about that. No, I hate that.
Speaking of, I remember seeing Kate when you were hosting the AVN Awards.
Good.
That's right.
He's like, speaking of, I remember seeing Kate's
Speaking of
butthole.
Kate's
That's
butthole.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Dude, that's when I hit you up. I was like, hey, good job. Hosting the AVN.
We should work together
Thank you.
sometime.
Yeah, totally.
Thank you. Actually, I remember. So I remember when I met you. That's what I was telling Brian the other day. We did a show together at Sal's Comedy Hole. You might not even remember this, but I was very new at comedy. I don't know if you were or not. I think it was a Big Mike show, but I'm not sure. He
does a lot of shows at Big Sal's.
Does he still do
At
shows?
Sal's.
Do you remember this guy, Big
Yeah.
Mike?
Totally. Yeah, I haven't talked to him in a while.
Big
Yeah.
Mike tends to go from venue to venue after he gets kicked out of one. And
Hey, we're not saying that.
also,
I don't know.
we're friends.
I think I do remember that show now because I can't think of the headliners.
I thought you were the headliner.
Dude, I was like.
I think you were.
No one wants to headline
think-
a Big Mike show and go 20th.
Yeah, this guy, for the people that don't know, when you start comedy, and I'm curious if it was different for you because you already had a following
Already
from
superstar.
wrestling. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're already known.
Right.
So most people when they start comedy have to do these shit shows called bringer shows where it's like you pretty much have to like beg your friends to come to the show.
Come
get
see me
booked.
for the 7th time with the same jokes you saw last time.
Yeah, it got to the point for me where I was buying the tickets for my friends. So you're spending like $70 to get 6 of your friends to come see you for $12 each.
For
So
5
you can
minutes.
have 5 minutes on stage.
Yeah.
But
I didn't come in that way, but like as a kid, like I remember wanting to someday do open mic. I didn't want to be a professional comedian, probably. I don't know.
Right.
but
I remember you
that's-
saying that on your doc.
Yeah. Someday I'll get up there, but because I was already, known by the time I got the offer, then it was different. But because I got my experience in front of people, just like with acting too. You know, like I did movies and learned on screen, you know, so just like with wrestling, like I hate looking at all my earlier stuff just because, you know, you've come so far since then.
Really? Is it like that with wrestling as well? Because I'm just like that.
Oh, so much.
Because you get so much better.
Yeah.
Do you mean like physically at the moves or also just the character and the performance?
No, everything. Like I've been wrestling for like 100 years. So you got
How long really?
30 years.
You were WWF and also what's
everything.
ECW, WWE. You were world champion on both of those.
And what was TNA, which is now Impact, which I've just recently resigned. So now I'm on Impact again. I just a couple weeks ago, I just started.
Congratulations!
Congrats. Thank you.
I didn't know there were so many.
Yeah.
There's
it's becoming more
popular.
Well, if you're going to speak for me, but what I was going to say, no, it's becoming, there are more and more groups that are coming along.
Yeah.
And that's because like it got so monopolized that, you know, the fans like really are like drawn towards alternative options. And so all these other, the one right now, AEW, is like everyone's so excited about it because this guy has more money than Vince McMahon. And like guys are getting signed up to big contracts. They just got a TV deal with TNT. And next week they're filming at MGM, and like the whole week is like wrestling week in Vegas.
It's almost like WCW happening again. Remember?
Yeah. I mean, it's comparable. So you know, we'll see what happens. I'm not as excited as everyone else, but then I don't really get excited that much. This is my excited face right here.
He's very excited right this moment.
Wait, can I ask questions about wrestling? A couple questions because as someone who doesn't know,
you want to see what a body slam feels like?
I've done that.
I'll step out of the way while you
know. I've done that, not in a sexual way, but it's great. No. Here's what I want to know. So, I have one friend who wrestles, Nick. I mean, his name is Dolph Ziggler, his wrestling name. And then growing up, I'm just giving you the background of what I know, so I can ask you questions. All I know is
growing up where?
I grew up in Ohio.
Okay.
And my brother was a huge wrestling fan back in like the Bret Hart days. I remember Bret Hart. Shawn Michaels, I remember because I was like, even back then, I was like, oh yeah.
And you were married at the time, probably, right?
I was like 10.
Oh, you said you got married at like 19, right?
Yeah, 19. But this is like when I was a kid. I don't know if my brother still watches wrestling.
I was a kid till I was like an adult.
Yeah, I know.
We're still kids.
I know, right? But my point is just and I remember like Macho Man and those guys. But
Macho Man was always my favorite growing up.
You
know what's funny? Let me interrupt you for 1 second.
Ahead.
I went to go see Hulk Hogan versus the Macho Man at the Sports Arena down in LA when they did it there. Wow. And I was a kid, and I was in shock because, you know, Hulk Hogan was my hero. I didn't like Macho Man at this point in my life. And these dudes are all wearing Macho Man shirts. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on here with these assholes? Like, I didn't understand liking a bad guy. Right.
Oh my God, I always like the bad guy.
Oh yeah, now I love, like when I look back, I'm like, Macho Man, I just love the way he talks, all his, you know, I know he's probably crazy in real life. You probably know better than me.
He's dead now.
I should say I'm aware of that. Okay. Hit a tree, right?
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Macho Man.
Yeah.
What was his real name?
Randy Poffo. Randy Poffo, really.
There you go.
Yeah.
But okay, so here's my question. One, when did you start wrestling? Were you wrestling at that time?
Well, I grew up watching these guys, but then I kind of like lapped, or what do you say? Our careers overlapped. So like,
right.
So yes, I've worked with a lot of the guys, by the way, are still around. Like Bret Hart, I see him all the time.
He wrestles?
Well, he doesn't wrestle, no, but he does like these autograph signings, conventions, and stuff, and that's a big part of what we do too.
Yeah.
Appearances at WWE once in a while. He was there. Yeah. He got tackled at the Hall of Fame Awards,
so
right?
Ridiculous.
Were you there? Tackled?
I wasn't there. No, when I saw it, I mean, I'm sure if I would have been in the front row, I would have jumped in and beat the shit out of that guy too. Like, I was so offended when I saw that. Yeah,
it was a guy, a fan.
He just jumped in. He's talking on the mic, giving a speech, and they had a ring set up, which they don't normally do at Hall of Fame. But dude jumped in, got behind him, like he like waist locked him and like pulled him down. It wasn't like a real impactful, violent move, but you know, I mean, everyone talks him down by saying, "Come on, he's 60. He had a stroke, cancer survivor."
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I don't think you need to include all that just to say that, you know, what happened anyway was, you know, it was totally, and I guess the guy was his moment of fame. I think it's kind of like when a guy
streaks.
Exactly. That's exactly what I keep saying. Like when you streak across the football field.
So he was a fan.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing that'll be the last time they do it in a ring.
He got the shit beat out of him. He'll probably be barred from any WWE events. Like for life,
wow.
I imagine.
Well, I mean, I would imagine, how often does it happen that, because I'm friends with Rampage Jackson, and when we go out sometimes, dudes are a little like more aggressive with him, I think, because they think they're going to like impress the people they're with or something. And when in my mind, I'm like, are you insane?
Yeah, it's like an alpha male.
Yeah, like do do you find that guys like step to you a little more?
What's up, bitch?
Yeah, like does stuff like that happen? Or
Of course, over the years it's happened a lot, but I think it's not a big part of my life, and I'm so incredibly passive. If you can't tell, like everybody that meets me says I'm the most laid back, chilled guy they've ever met, and so I own that. I'm proud of that. You know what I mean? And I put more energy into that. So like I'm so passive that I'm non-confrontational at points when I probably should be a little more stand-up-ish, where afterwards I'm kind of like, I don't know if I really should let that guy get away with that, but in the big picture, it's better that we're all just going home safe tonight.
It's probably easier to, you probably diffuse it real easily. Without dealing with any bullshit.
And with other wrestlers, I mean, it doesn't happen that often, but that happened like a few years ago. So some incident happened where, and the guy had to say something because something happened with his wife, that I was involved in. Oh. Wow, should I really get into all this? I mean, it's kind of, all right.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Why not?
So, why not?
This is date fails.
Why not?
That's a real date
sounds
fail.
Sounds like a fail.
But so anyway, this is, nobody knows this. Like, this will probably get out of the internet.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, something happened in WrestleMania in New Orleans a few years ago.
Right.
And it was like DDP had a birthday party at this bar, and I went there, and Scott Norton was bouncing, right? And I never knew Scott, but I knew of him, and I was like, hey man, great to meet you. Yeah, you were in New Japan when I was in All Japan. We're having a good conversation and stuff, and all of a sudden, his wife comes up to me, and she just started like, I don't know why, but she started being like such a bitch. She was just like, she actually said, she was like, hey, she goes, how's your wife? Did she die yet? Didn't she have cancer? And I was just like, okay, she's obviously really trying to offend me, but I had no idea why. And then I didn't know, and I was like, no, she's fine. And I'm trying to talk to Scott, and I'm thinking like, this is getting really weird. And when I'm talking to Scott, my hand like bumped her, and she started like doing this to me and stuff, like right in front of him. And I grabbed her wrist, right?
Yeah.
Put a little twist on it, just like you do to stop somebody from doing something, And Scott got a whoa, and then he got between us and he kicked her out. He's like, whatever her name is, he's like, Michelle, go outside right now. And they went out, and I was just like, wow, that was really weird. Like, I have no idea what that was about. But the next 2 years in a row, he came up to me at WrestleCon. We got to talk, Rob. And I'm like, okay, what? And he's like, that's fucked up what happened last year. I said, I agree. That was fucked up what your wife did. But that was as confrontational as I got. You know what I mean? Like, he was obviously very agitated. And I'm just looking at him like, Scott, whatever, dude. Like, what is it? And he's going, you don't know about me. Ask Bubba about me. I go, why do I have to ask Bubba about you? He goes, no, you're right. You don't have to, but you should. You should. I go, dude, you're right here. What is it you want me to know? And he like took his glasses off, put them on top of his head, and was looking like he was getting real aggressive.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, I don't know you. I met you a couple times. I got no problem with you, whatever. And I like shook his hand. I did that twice in a row, 2 years in a row. But that's twice. You don't get a third time. I'm just saying, this ain't a challenge I'm putting out there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I totally.
No, put it out. Put it out there.
I totally get the position he was in where, he felt like he had to stand up or whatever. But after a certain point, I mean, it's like, I was so passive that afterwards it was like, he definitely, went far enough to where, I could have responded with just half of the agitation he had, and it would have been.
Right.
The bouncer should tell him what really went down. He was a witness.
He was saying that I was drunk and being a dick before or whatever, and I was drunk.
But wait, the bouncer is the guy.
I don't remember. I thought I just walked in. I don't remember anything happened. Then there was another guy. He was like, well, you had a friend of yours that was being a dick. I'm like, what? Dude, what the fuck are you talking about? A friend of mine. Who are you talking about?
I thought we had drama and comedy.
I know. Well,
anyway, it's very rare.
Everywhere.
It's so rare that I had to think of an instance like 3 years ago.
But was the bouncer the guy that sent his wife out, or he sent?
No,
his
he
wife
was
out?
bouncing there, but then he approached me at like the next day. We were at WrestleCon, and he was like, "Rob, we gotta have a talk." I was like, "All right." Went over to talk, and he was like, "Man, that was messed up." I'm like, "Yeah, it was."
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I don't
who
know. I think he
like
wanted
that?
to settle it. I think he wanted to. I don't know if he wanted to work it out, if he wanted to fight, but he was like, right on that line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I was I'm always passive, you know.
Yeah,
I'm like, dude, I'd rather just go back to my table and make some money, but
That's good that you diffused it, though. I mean, you know, I noticed on your documentary, so we watch, and we'll talk about it. So Brian and I both watched
Headstrong.
your
Headstrong.
movie,
Cool,
Headstrong,
thank you.
which actually, I really liked it.
Yeah.
It was really,
Well, don't
really,
act so surprised.
well, I mean, honestly, like, anytime you hear someone's making a documentary about doing stand-up, as a stand-up, you're like, well,
Let's check it out.
there's been a lot of these. I
Yeah.
can't wait. I want to see how, but yours was, it really actually, it was cool for me, not knowing that much about you. I was still really into the story, and like,
I almost cried when you were talking to like Bobby the Brain Heenan and all those guys in there that were like, a lot of them had passed away.
Yeah.
It's my childhood, man. And like Bobby the Brain Heenan, man, his face was just all so sad,
Bruno,
man.
and it was Bruno's last appearance.
Oh, was
actually,
that?
Yeah, and King Kong Bundy.
Yeah, he just passed away recently.
yeah.
I was
That's
just
so
like,
cool.
yeah, and it's
It
like I
is.
was like, this is like the last video of these people that I would know of, at least. And
There's a
it's
few
just-
moments that are cry worthy.
Yeah.
You know, I've been told it's an emotional roller coaster. When I see Katie, my girlfriend, not you,
she's
Katie.
beautiful, by the
Oh,
way.
thank you.
Your girlfriend, you're welcome.
When she's being interviewed and she's like, she cries a little bit. Like, it
Yeah.
always stings me.
Yeah.
Even though I've seen it so many times, when I watch it, I sting.
Yeah.
And-
I totally like felt that though, because
Yeah.
that was my thing watching it. Well, for one, and I don't know how much I won't give anything away, but like one thing I noticed about you that you were talking about, and you're kind of talking about it here, is you were talking about kind of being stoic and your vibration. You used a couple words that I was like, oh, these are like law of attraction. Like this
Sure,
guy's really into stoicism. You don't hear a lot of wrestlers speaking about that kind of,
Oh yeah, I'm one of a kind.
yeah, but you really are. You have like a really like warm energy. That's probably why you didn't get into a fight with
Yeah,
that
most
guy.
people love me. Like when I go out, you know, most people are just super excited to see me. You
Yeah.
know? Even just walking around downtown LA today with Katie, we're walking a few blocks because we're staying down there for the WoW tapings tonight.
Oh, cool.
And yeah, you know, we're walking and people are, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 different times from different, you know, people are like RVD, like they don't just say it like, hey, Rob, good to see you. You know, they're excited like RVD, and they do
course.
my thumbs. You know.
Yeah, the
and
first
it's
time I
like,
met you, actually, I wasn't at a comedy place. It was at Saddle Ranch. You were out in the back area eating, and I was like, "Dude, that's Rob Van Dam over there." And I just went over. You were so cool and said hi to me and all that. I don't think cell cameras were even around at this point.
Probably
like I
not.
was just like, just glad to meet him.
Do you get recognized more by children or grown men, or it must be less women? Although now I feel like it's becoming more popular. But what do you get recognized by the most?
I don't think there'd be a huge difference, but if I had to pick, I guess I would say grown men, because the one thing I hear a lot of is that they grew up watching me and how much of a hero I was to them. And so that's cool, because even if they stopped watching wrestling 15, 20 years ago, there's a good chance that I impacted their lives in such a way they'll remember me for that. And then I don't look that much different, you know, than I did. And
You do look really young.
oh, thanks.
Yeah, you look great. Do you work out every day?
No, I try, but you know, sometimes
You were on the
sometimes
treadmill.
Laziness factor, Dan.
Alcohol gets in the way sometimes.
Sure,
you know.
me too.
What's the WoW event you were just talking about? Is it like
Women
Women
of
of
Wrestling,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Is it kind of like Glow, or is it like?
Same. The guy David McLean invented Glow, and then he and the director that were running it like split up,
Oh, okay.
and then he started WoW.
And that was so long ago. I
So
remember.
long ago, he's done like one season every 8 years.
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden he's got Genie Bus's money and he's got Access TV.
And the
so now
Netflix
they're-
thing is making it more popular again, I'm sure. The
yeah.
show on Netflix.
Is Women of Wrestling
It was.
now?
It used to be Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, Glow,
Yeah.
and this is what I guess they're rebooting it sort of with
Well,
WoW.
it's different. Like
It's
I said,
different.
It's the same guy that invented, started his own stuff because he wanted to leave Glow. And
I helped the farmer's daughter when I worked at Circus
Did
City.
you?
I was so excited.
She's
I was
the
like
most
20
famous.
years old, and I was just like, "Oh, you want to buy a VCR?" Ooh.
But wait, so the Women of Wrestling, do they actually wrestle, or is it like a reality show?
No,
okay.
No.
It's a league, like
It's
a
like-
like a WWE.
It is,
Yeah.
but
type-
it's,
okay.
One thing that makes it different, though, is that the guy uses some actresses, like some wrestlers and some actresses.
I want in.
Yeah, I was about to say, get
I
her
would
in there.
like. I would
She'd kill
totally.
that.
I had to wrestle for my Playboy TV show. We did an episode on erotic wrestling. Did you know that's a thing?
No.
Guys
Like
will
mud
pay.
wrestling?
No, it's actually like these wrestlers are like these women are like legit wrestlers.
Well, maybe I do. I mean, would it be what I call living room wrestling?
Do you do it naked? Possibly. No, this isn't even really sexual. That's what's weird about it. Like, it's really just dudes that get off on wrestling women, and these women charge these guys, but they're like He-Man wrestlers, like legit wrestlers, and they charge these guys to wrestle them.
That's funny.
Yeah.
There used to be a place in LA called the Tropicana, and it was just mud wrestling and oil wrestling.
Right
and
off the highway.
Yeah, right off the highway near Denny's. And my
I love that you know
I remember
it.
that shit. When I first
there was
moved to
commercials
LA.
for it.
Yeah.
Did you work there?
No, but I did go. I did see some mud wrestling there, though.
No
I
way.
went there once. Yeah, my buddies were like, let's check it out. There was commercials on TV for this place. It was crazy.
Well, that was my question I wanted to ask you about wrestling, because I'm curious. When I was young, I feel like it was a little more, not adult. It was never adult, but I mean, it was a little more, I don't know, like less family friendly
The
than
Attitude
it
Era.
seems now. Like, what can you do? Are there rules for what you're allowed to do?
He was
say?
beyond the Attitude Era. You were an ECW, man. Like, they were like landing on tacks and going through freaking tables.
We started the Attitude Era for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So
he was in a league called Extreme. What's the C for? Championship Wrestling. Yeah, ECW, and it was the most nut shit. Like, things were on fire.
No way.
They had tacks on the ground and barbed wires and.
See, that I think would be dope if there was wrestling that was like for 18 and over.
That's what he's talking about. Yeah, but so when I grew up. Must have been a little bit before you grew up, Kate, because it was so family oriented. We had Hulk Hogan's Rockin' Wrestling, the cartoon.
Right.
It was on Saturday mornings, and it was most of the wrestlers were like 300 pounds. It was big guys, so it wasn't so much about the physically exciting moves. That's why. I picked out my favorites because they would do, wow, he did a flying head scissors.
Yeah, back then it was the bigger the better, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
like Andre the Giant.
Yeah,
type.
Totally.
Yeah.
But it was
John
about
Studd.
characters too. Hillbilly Jim would come down with a pig under his arm.
No way.
It was so
I don't
family. It was all about family. Rock and roll, rock and wrestling connection with Cyndi Lauper, and it was like during all that time, it was about the family. And then, ECW got popular with their counterculture approach. With, like he said, the first commercial I saw for ECW. I knew like you didn't have to be a wrestling fan to be. It was like it had a car crash appeal. Like what I saw the first time I saw it, there's two wrestlers in a ring, and all of a sudden the fans started rioting, and they all grabbed their chairs and threw them and buried the ring.
Holy shit!
All the chairs are pouring into the ring, and it gets buried. And I've experienced that too since I've seen that commercial.
No way.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy about the wrestling is. Oh, so you said in your documentary that can I say how many concussions you said
Let's say it. Let's put it out there.
He said he had 100. Wait, the doctor said how many
100 plus
concussions? He
concussions.
said I've had hundreds, and she goes hundreds. Yeah. Is that for real?
That is so real, and that's also another possible emotional point in the thing. It's a real like the way the I don't know the way I don't know if it's the silence or the music behind that, but it seems like. When I watch that, it's a lot more. Yeah, whose dog is?
Want me to go shut him up?
Yeah. Do you know how to shut him up?
Yeah, I'll be back in just a second.
Because I want to hear this, but
Yeah,
we'll keep
before
talking.
Before I go, the thing about that is you're having a medical professional being shocked about how many concussions she's had,
hundreds?
and that's what she deals with. So and when you see somebody in that business shocked,
hundreds is insane. I mean, even NFL athletes don't have hundreds.
But you're wrestling 300 times a year.
That's what I was gonna say. You guys wrestle so much.
When you're on top in WWE, you are wrestling. And here's the thing: a lot of people don't know where you draw the line with a concussion, and I didn't used to know. I used to think it was only like when you got like knocked out, blacked out, and you wake up and you're groggy for days. I didn't know, but anytime you get rocked in the head and then your senses are off for a minute, and you're kind of like out of it or loopy, that assume that's a concussion.
Yeah.
I used to every single night that would happen, and I just thought it was part of the job. I would take a crack with a chair, like whack. And I knew that everything was going to be in slow motion for a second, or the sound would go out, or sometimes, even though I wasn't knocked out, sometimes, bam, I'd lay on the mat. And it wasn't like I was knocked out, but it still felt like I was waking up. Like, I
That's
don't know,
seeing stars kind
yeah,
of.
I don't know if you ever done nitrous oxide hits or whatever.
No, not that I know of.
It's like the same feeling where you're like you're letting out, you're breathing out, and all these brain cells. Yeah, like
I definitely had that
so many times. But your brain bounces around inside your skull.
Yeah.
Boom. It hits it, bruises it. That's what's happening there, and those are concussions.
I've had that snowboarding once or twice where I've fallen, even with the helmet on, hit my head so hard that like I couldn't quite, everything was fuzzy. And that's a weird feeling coming down a mountain, like when the trees are blurry and you can't really see. But the thing is, like in the NFL, you know, they have the concussion rule now where if you don't get up right away, they have to take you to the locker room and do a brain check before you can go back on the field. But in wrestling, there's no.
Well, they do have protocol. Yeah,
they do.
It's relatively like a new study. You know, like they can, even when I was getting checked out at Curl and Job, you know, the CAT scans, MRIs, everything. They still really couldn't tell me anything as far as like what I could expect because it's so new. It's like, I'm like, wait a second, I've had like double vision. It's been like 9 months at this point. You know, it seems like it's getting a little better. I don't know. And I mean, am I going to always have this? No, I don't think so. Well,
they don't know.
Yeah, they don't know. I'm like, am I going to always have to do vision therapy? Oh, I doubt it. Well, you're saying that like for years I can be fucked up and be doing therapy and then all of a sudden maybe it'll be clear, I'll be 100%. They're like, yeah, it could happen. They have no idea.
Probably affects everyone differently too.
Don't you feel? I feel like doctors. Like I do a whole bit on stage about how I've had a boob redone a few times, and because the doctor is just every time I come in, he's like kind of guessing why it's going on, but he's not. He's like, but really, no one really knows. And I feel like there's a lot of things still that doctors. We act like we have all this technology.
There's so many times where I'm just like, it's 2019. How do you not know this?
Yeah, but I feel like a lot of it is still they're trying to sound like they know, but they have no fucking idea. They're just like, we'll see.
They call it practicing medicine, but I mean, you know, right now while I'm thinking about it, I mean, I know, and probably you guys know too, how the government works with their higher ups, the pharmaceutical companies, for instance, want you to stay sick.
Of course.
So of course that's got to be a factor in like everything that they do. They want to keep your business. And
I mean,
how far do you go with that though? Do you think there's chemtrails and shit like that?
I don't know what that is.
We could go into
people claim that like those lines behind airplanes are like the pharmaceutical companies trying to make people sick so they can make more money. Shit like conspiracy theories.
I mean, I do. I like conspiracy theories, not like a blanket rule like all of them.
Yeah,
but some of them.
This is believable to an extent because I know how the CIA used to, you know, experiment with citizens besides soldiers and things like that, and also the eugenics. You know, they used to give women shots and so that they couldn't have children. They wouldn't even know. They think they're giving them shots for something else.
How do you get that?
They want
Where's that shot? I want to sign up.
They want to control the population and you know everything from Darwin. Not Darwin. Was it Darwin's theory about only the strong survive?
Oh yeah. Darwinism.
So yeah, thank you. So underneath that, eugenics was formed, which like Hitler was a big part of and stuff. There's these big stones in Elberton, Georgia, that are like huge, giant-sized pages written in different languages of all the rules of eugenics. They want like the total world population to be, I think, under 6 million. And if you're anyone that's sick, they don't want them to reproduce. And they did years ago go through and try to make this happen. And of course, they realized the closer to the gene pool they bred, not the purer and the better people came out, but the more, you know, inbred, worse off, lower quality people came out.
I mean, I believe in so much of that. Even little things like, think about this. Magic Johnson got HIV back when there was like no way to keep people alive. There was no cure. And he's still here, which means they knew somehow how to keep people alive, but they didn't want everybody to have
it. It's possible. Sure. It could be a coincidence that, you know,
it's not a coincidence. How come Freddie Mercury died and Magic Johnson? Come on.
I think everyone's immune system is just a little different, and his happened to be. It's probably money.
I believe so. Charlie Sheen too, right?
But Mercury had a lot of money.
You know, you slept with him. Oh,
yeah.
I read that. I don't know.
Spoiler alert. Just kidding. No, but
money is a huge factor, obviously.
Yeah.
Money is big, but I mean, now I have lots of friends, not lots, but I have several friends who have HIV who you'd never know, and they're fine. They're healthy because now they have so much, you know, they can live a long, healthy life with it now. But back then, my point is just like he was getting the treatment that was being hidden from society. That's all I'm saying.
I believe that.
There's something
I don't doubt it.
But that is the way that our world works. Like people ask me all the time, like, why don't they realize how much money we'll make from taxing marijuana and just legalize it everywhere? And the thing that they don't think about, I always say, who would make money?
Exactly. Until it's us.
And who would lose money? The the one percenters, the elite that run the world, they would lose money. That's why marijuana's, prohibited. Alcohol business doesn't want marijuana legal. Tobacco doesn't want marijuana legal. Pharmaceuticals don't want marijuana legal. Even like back in the day when William Randolph Hearst was printing all the bullshit in his papers about how evil weed was, it was because he made his living off of chopping down 20-year-old forests to make his paper.
Right.
You don't want an annual crop that has even better pulp than wood and everything. Eventually they got to switch over, and after hundreds of years, we'll see that happen.
Yeah.
It is happening.
Same thing with gambling. Like they can make so much money off gambling, but they make it illegal. But
in some places,
you could drive like 30 minutes and still do it.
Prostitution.
Well, you have to think about it like this. Like, here's what's funny. Like, even with, I'm not going to get into like a pro-life abortion discussion, but even like things like, let's not pretend that any politician is doing anything because of like how they feel in their heart about stuff. Like nothing in government is about love or compassion. It's always about a dime. It's always about who's going to make the most money. I don't think anybody in politics is doing things because of, this would be good for people.
Right.
It's always like there's a hidden.
Well, hopefully somebody is somewhere.
Paul.
I think we should all run. Why don't you run for president? Throw your name in. Everyone else is. Why not?
There's like on the wrestling bus, like when you go international or whatever, they take you on a bus. Otherwise, you're on your own. It would always like divide, like in Japan, I wrestled there for many years. It would always divide into two different groups. There'd be one clique that's the office, we would call them, and the other ones that are the hoods. And I've always been a hood.
Wait, what's the office group? What does that mean?
The office group is like, so like in All Japan, there was like Johnny Ace, Stan Hansen, Del Wilkes, the Patriot. These guys, they're first off, they're how do you say the drug free? What's the
clean?
Straight edge.
Straight edge.
So they're straight edge. They might have some
no
drink.
nitrogen.
They might have a few beers here and there.
Yeah.
Right. And but also, like Johnny would help like book some wrestlers there. So he literally was office.
Mm-hmm.
And then they talk about ideas, for the company, whatever. And then there's the hoods, where like as soon as we get to a town, it's like, cool, we have a hookup on some hash here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All get together, chip in, and say, oh, who's gonna get it? And we'd all meet in the rooms.
You're
and
the
smoke,
hoods.
and then and then usually the top hood is just spending the whole time dogging the top office guy.
I love this. The top hood. Were you ever the top hood?
No.
There should be a separate belt for that.
You should make a list of all the hoods and all the office guys.
Right?
Put it on your website.
I was I got into wrestling I was so young. And in '93, I started wrestling in All Japan, and I hadn't even I think I'd only been on like one or two flights, maybe. I had no idea how to get around on the airport, so I was literally like holding on to guys' belt loops. Not literally. I'm using that word too much.
Maybe you were.
I don't think, but I was like in their wake, staying on their feet. Like I didn't know how to read the signs, especially in Japan.
Yeah.
And then when we would get together and for sessions, we'd call them, smoke sessions or whatever. These guys would be talking about their battle stories over the years and stuff, and I felt so insecure and shy because I just, just left mom and dad's house. Yeah,
it's just like a new open micer hanging out with.
I'd be quiet and be like, I hope that hash comes to me soon.
Yeah, that's a weird feeling when you're like sitting in the green room with like a bunch of veteran comics who've been doing it forever, and they're telling stories about guys that you either haven't heard of or you're like, holy shit, that's like a legend. You're kind of laughing along, yeah. But you're like, I don't fucking, you can't even relate.
Yeah.
Now it's getting weird because I've been doing it now 8 years, so I'm starting to like have stories, but nothing like these guys.
Slowly becoming a veteran yourself.
I mean, I wouldn't say that, but how did you? I don't even know how this works. Like, how did you get into wrestling? Like back then, how did it work? Did you audition? Were you a wrestler in like high school? How does that happen?
Well, I guess kind of all the above what you just said, but I joined wrestling in high school because I wanted to be a pro wrestler. And I ended up also dropping out because I wanted to be a pro wrestler. So in I guess this was probably my junior year, I guess. I was about 165 pounds, and they were saying I could probably drop down to like 135 pounds. I'm like, what? I want to weigh 235. I'm going to be a pro wrestler. And all the wrestlers, the guys that were there that had the best reputations and stuff, they were kind of skinny, wiry guys, most of them. And they would wear like a bunch of shirts and run all day.
Amateur wrestling, right?
Yeah. take.
There's a South Park about that.
Yeah,
have you seen it?
No.
Wait, these are
I
like
experienced it though.
But you mean like actual like wrestlers like the kind that
amateur wrestling we call it.
Okay.
So I joined that thinking that would help me, and then I quit and just got into like martial arts and kickboxing outside of school on my own.
Gotcha.
And then, but to actually break into the pro ranks, I went to a wrestling school, but it was a very private thing. We call it a wrestling school, but I mean, it was really just a very private. The original Sheik, and there was like, at first it was like just me and somebody else, and then eventually there was like maybe 2 other wrestlers when we would show up and work out. But they stretched me and beat me up and made sure I was tough enough. Then I had to show them, because I told them I was acrobatic and had martial arts, so I had to get in the ring by myself and show them what I had. So I was like, I can do this, and I do a spin kick. I can drop down in a split, do a somersault. He said, okay, what else? I'm like, do a back handspring, and
you can do a back handspring?
Well, I do. Dude, have you ever seen me
Holy
wrestle?
shit! Yeah, well, I just saw the clips.
I'm the whole effing show.
But I mean, a back handspring? That's fucking insane. I can't even do a back handspring.
Well, but anyway, I had to do all that.
She's like, what the fuck are you doing, Brian?
My wrist doesn't bend past that, so when I do it, I have to do it on my knuckles, but nobody really seems to notice that.
Oh, wow.
Okay, wait,
Over the years, I do one hand and one knuckle because this wrist doesn't bend.
How far into wrestling till you get to hit someone with a chair?
Well, actually, quite a while. I mean, it's different now, but like I learned just the basics, all about the basics, and it always goes back to the basics. Nowadays, they bypass the basics and they learn how to eat with a chair, and they still don't know how to wrestle, and they don't understand why they don't get over, why the fans aren't investing their emotions into what they're doing, and it's like they're skipping so much. But everything has to change, like we were talking about. It used to be family oriented, and then
where was your first professional? Was it in Japan?
My very first match professional was in Toledo, Ohio in 1990.
Ooh.
Were you nervous?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah. What kind of like a venue was it?
It was at the Toledo Speedway. It was supposed to be an outside show, but it rained, so they moved the ring inside to some building.
Oh, wow.
Abdul the Butcher was there, Ken Patera,
okay,
and a steel cage, some ninja turtle midgets. I can't remember what they called them. But
Ninja turtle
in
midget.
a cage.
Oh, that
Ninja
sounds
turtle
amazing.
midgets.
See, I think it'd be more fun almost if it was like that. If it was like a weird freak show, kind of like with a lot of pyrotechnics and like.
Yeah, back in the 90s, it sort of was, right? Like,
I love that.
Well, I mean, I came in as basic as you could. I came in like as a kickboxer so at first, who was my best friend, always has been at the time, we got in together ish, and we would go against each other in a Vietnamese kickboxing match or whatever they called it.
Right.
And then, things would get ugly. We'd pull the gloves off or whatever, and then be a big pull apart or whatever.
And the turtle midgets would come in and interrupt.
It was really controlled to make sure we didn't go out there and fuck up the whole show. It was
Of course.
as green as we were. And
Yeah,
stuff,
totally.
God, you're such a good interview that I'm sad that we told you an hour because I could keep talking to you forever. Okay, we only have a little more time with him.
Yeah, how can they watch your podcast? Your documentary.
First, let's talk about the
Headstrong.
movie. Yeah, Headstrong.
Okay.
When is it coming out? How is it coming out?
So it's out now on iTunes, Google Play, fucking
Amazon?
Voodoo. Did I say Amazon?
Not yet.
Let's try again. iTunes, Amazon. Yeah, Voodoo's like a Walmart thing. Google Play, and it's also on Fight TV, and so it's available right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Guys, it's called Headstrong, and I really enjoyed it. You got to check it out.
Yeah,
It's
I really
great.
liked it a lot.
And it follows you on the road doing comedy as well, which, how often are you doing stand-up now?
I really do everything as little as possible. Yeah. It's so true. Like,
God bless you for that. I love it.
Yeah.
He's like, fuck doing anything. I'm done.
But,
just
yeah.
chill.
When I need to.
Right?
It's not even, I'm not even a joke. Like, I'm so bad. I'm thinking about maybe I need a therapist or something, because I have like my drive is to roll a doobie. My drive tells me, you want to make a great day today, just roll up a doobie, turn the TV on, and then it's, there goes Tuesday.
Can I tell you, I don't think you need a therapist for that. Do you know what I think?
No.
I think that all has to do with your whole vibration outlook, your stoicism. Because I'm
I like
similar.
To be comfortable.
I'm serious. Because I was just on Joey Diaz and we were talking about this, because everyone is like, well, what's your goal? What's your plan? What's your goal? And I'm like, my goal is to be happy every day. And if I'm happy, and if today what makes me happy is doing stand up, I'll do stand up. If I decide I feel like putting special out, I'm working on that. But like, I don't sit here and go, I'll be happy when I get to, there's nothing wrong with, if you're happy, not everybody has to like have this thing I want to play Madison Square Garden.
It's just that they don't relate to me as much because I'm so odd like that, you know? So my daily goal, what I want to do is just to keep my spiritual vibration as high as I can, or another way to put it in layman's terms, to avoid stress as much as possible.
That's it.
Yeah. Anything that I have to do, even if it's something small, if it's like, okay, I got to get an Uber, that's a little bit of stress, a little bit of work you got to do. I'm just saying, like, when you master it, you can get to where you're on such a even nice end that I don't want to do anything. Like at the end of the movie, I said I'm talking to some places in Vegas about doing residency thing, and I am, through my manager. But the thing is, like, I don't really call people back, and then my manager's like, hey, come to meet with this guy. I'm like, yeah, can we do it next week? And and then I'm thinking, I'm home, and I'm like, God, that would suck to have to leave every day. Even if it's only for like an hour, you got to be there 15 minutes before your set. Yeah. It's pretty good, but it's just like, but I'm more comfortable just like laying here, enjoying home, and it's.
And you live in Vegas now,
It's not
right?
a problem except for only relating to other people. And people want you to be doing something, and they want to, in order for them to understand it, they want to think you're trying something. Hey, how's that comedy work? I know you're trying to do comedy now. And I'm like, I can't relate to that. It's like, I'm not trying to do comedy right now. It's like, I do it sometimes. Sometimes I enjoy it. But I'm not like, I don't know. In order for me to think that I was trying to do it, I would have to think that I'm failing to do it by not doing it. But everything's on me just because I'm not aggressive about fuck.
Well, but there's also a weird power in, I've noticed, because I used to be real like I would hold on to things tight. Like I was real wound up. And the more I have gotten into kind of like spirituality and like letting go, it's bizarre because the more chill I get, the more I notice people think you're doing that. You're not calling back. You're being this carefree and chill because like you want to be chased, or they come after you harder. But the truth is, you're really just like, you're chill, but it makes everybody else go, why is he so chill? Like it makes them want to get a piece of you more. And I feel like I've got more jobs and more shit done since I've been more chill because there's no desperation in you. People aren't thinking you're like dying.
That's true.
That's the strategy to go with then.
I'm telling you, man. I went to an audition and I didn't even bring, this is when headshots and resumes were like standard. Yeah. And I brought a photo that was in the back seat of my car. It wasn't even a headshot. And I forgot a resume, so I just wrote my phone number on the back and wrote credits on IMDb and gave it to them. And they were like, do you always do this? I was like, I usually don't bring anything. And I got it. I think that's the key, man. I'm telling you.
That's hilarious.
The more I talk about retiring from wrestling, the more my value goes up too. So that's crazy.
Yeah.
And all fans can't understand that. I mean, unless they're the smart fans that are on the internet looking up every little detail.
Sure.
Because and like I said, most people love me, but if you look at enough comments online, you're gonna find some of the haters.
You could dig in there and find something for anyone.
Don't do it.
What's funny, but it's so worth it. Is that like some fans will be like, oh, man, why are you bringing back this old has-been or washed up pothead? And it's like, in reality, it's funny to me knowing what I know and knowing how ignorant they are, like knowing like how much better off I'm doing now and comparing what I make a match now compared to what I made back when they would call my peak. You know what I mean? And like how much less I have to work now for the same or more money. And it's like it's worth it. Like that's the cost of being me, is that not everyone's gonna understand you, but fuck it.
Some wrestlers
can
never let it go. Like,
most of them.
Yeah.
Well, that is true.
Wrestling.
It seems like either they can't get out. It seems like they
love
don't want to get out.
They don't want any. They have no other interests.
Like they're doing this shit in their 60s and shit, and they're doing hard. Like Terry Funk, he was like doing like.
Be hard to let go.
Yeah,
I'm friends with Terrell Owens, and like, he's still every day works out 3-4 times. He plays basketball, he plays football, and like I think that these guys get used to this level of like when you're that. And then you go from that to just being a regular dude hanging out. That's like, I mean, the feeling of coming off stage and going to your hotel room alone. Imagine that like is your life.
Yeah, that's another thing.
It's just weird.
That Jake the Snake, man, his Hall of Fame speech almost made me cry too, man. Yeah. Damn, these guys.
Every time I hear one of my peers give that speech, though, the Hall of Fame speech, they talk about how addicted they are to the spotlight and being in front of the people, and they talk about, you know, how much they hate being away from it and stuff. I've never felt that way.
Yeah.
I'm grateful for everything I have. My
Yeah,
fans,
totally.
my career, everything. But in 2005, I was out for a whole year because I had knee surgery, ACL and meniscus repair. I had my knee reconstructed, and I was home for the whole year getting paid, and it was probably my favorite year of my whole life. Seriously, I loved it. They wanted me to go back after 6 months, and I was like, "Fuck no, I need more time." And they brought me in and had to assess me, and they had Carlito like jump me or something. And then I was out for another 6 months, and even then, when they were calling me to come back, you know, I got suspended. You might have, I don't know if you heard about this. One of my high media exposures, they made it outside the business when I got arrested for possession of marijuana.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. See, I was the WWE champion.
Yeah.
And the ECW champion.
Oh, God.
And I was speeding in Ohio,
Of course.
Hanging Rock, Ohio, and I got and I got pulled over, and I had 18 grams of pot, which I know because the next day the when I was in the ring, the crowd was chanting marijuana, 18 grams. Yeah.
Is that a lot?
That's
I don't really.
Philadelphia.
I only know.
No, it's a little under an ounce.
It's a good amount.
It's enough
Yeah,
to get a, but not like you're dealing it.
It's a little over half an ounce, and right. But
It would fill a whole baggie pretty
Yeah.
I
tight.
lost both championship belts. I was suspended for 30 days. You know? And at the end of the 30 days, Paul Heyman was talking to me on the phone, you know, saying, telling me, you know, when I come back, you know, how to behave and all this and shit. And I was like, is there any way you can get me more time off?
Did you have to go to jail
Just for
that night or something?
Yeah, not even. I've only been in an actual cell one time. We had to go to jail and pay the guy, you know.
Did you get a mugshot?
Yeah.
I'm so jealous.
He
I
took it
want a
in the parking
mugshot.
lot. He took it in the parking
What?
lot. Yeah, that's why we thought, because this real, like by our cars, he was like, "Oh, I
So
forgot to
weird.
get your mugshot." Like when he was letting us.
So
go.
there's no like height lines behind
No,
you, nothing
not in
cool.
that- not in
That's
that- not that
bullshit.
night.
What a ripoff.
I would go back and be like, "Can I at least get the mugshot? Like, I really want
Yeah.
the mugshot."
One night I was going through Texas, a mandatory, you know, stop by the El Paso border.
Yeah.
And I had marijuana. I mean, the dog jumped on my car, and that night is the only night I've actually got put in a cell, and I was in there for like. And I had I was handcuffed in front of me, and I was in there for like maybe 15, 20 minutes at the most. I don't think it was 20 minutes. And I went to piss. Like, hey, there's a toilet just like on TV. There's one toilet in the middle of the cell, no lid on it. Cool. And I couldn't reach my own zipper. Like if your wrists
'Cause you're
are together,
handcuffed?
yeah.
Yeah.
If your wrists are together in the front, you can't reach your zipper. And I just said, fuck this. And I started kicking the door. I said, bam, bam. I started kicking the door, and they came over to me, and I told them that I had low blood sugar, and that I was feeling faint. And so they took me out, and they took cuffs off. They started feeding me, got me a sandwich.
No way.
Yeah, it was cool. And then it was time to go.
There was no one else in the cell with you?
No.
That would have been so great if you're like, dude, can you get my zipper? He's like, aren't you Rob Van Dam? Just get my zipper, dude. I got to pay. Before you go, we asked everyone. We didn't even really talk about
It just went
dating
so
and stuff.
quick.
You're busy tonight, right?
It went too quick.
Yeah. Well,
Got that thing. Okay.
But I mean, not for a while.
You have a ride picking you up. Is your ride here
I just
yet?
had a spot open up at the Improv. That's why I was asking. Michael Rappaport had to cancel.
I'm actually doing the Store Horseman podcast tonight.
Oh, cool.
No, tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's at the comedy
All right.
store.
I'll hit you up.
No, he's not. I don't think he's here yet.
He's not
But
here.
Anyway,
all
whatever.
right.
He
Well,
can
then
write. He
tell
can
us.
write if you want.
Okay, we didn't even get into this, but so I'm sure as a wrestler, you must have some groupies, some crazy female fans. Do you have any crazy fan stories, groupie stories, psycho, or like just really disaster sex or dating stories on the road, or I don't know? Does anything exciting happen for you like that? Not now because you have a girlfriend, but
Right. I'm trying to. I mean, what popped in my head, I don't think I should repeat. I can't believe I even said that thing about fucking.
Well, you don't have to name
Scott
names.
Won't be as interesting if he doesn't.
Okay. Well, there was, and this didn't have anything to do with me, but it just, you know, a story that.
Yeah.
Because in Japan there was a girl that, you know, their culture's different. They're so, I don't know, not just submissive, but they. I don't know what the word. They follow the word. I don't know, honor. What they're different.
Oh,
there.
yeah.
One
Man
girl.
is king.
There was one girl that there was one girl that like. All right.
Just say it. Just say it.
I'm
Go
not gonna,
there.
I'm not gonna say Johnny Smith, but one of the dudes was with this girl, and afterwards, like he wouldn't, even when he wasn't there, he wasn't even with the company anymore, whatever. She would like never go into another hotel room. So like if a bunch of fans and wrestlers were going to a room to drink or smoke or whatever, she would stand outside the hotel room because it would be, in her mind, it would be like disrespectful to the one wrestler that she slept with like 3 years ago.
Was this Macho Man and Elizabeth?
No, but there was another girl that was in love with Undertaker, and
Kate's like, what the fuck?
The way the story
I know
says-
Undertaker. I know
The way the
that.
story goes, Undertaker told her to sleep with all wrestlers. This is so like not a story.
Oh my
that she
God,
was
this
sharing.
is a good one. I want to hear this.
But it was her personal goal to go through like all the companies, like the New Japan, All Japan, like the American, all companies, and like almost everyone that I know, so that they'd been with this poor girl.
She should write a bike.
But wait, he
A
told her
book.
to? The Undertaker told her to?
Put the boys over.
No way.
It's
Wow.
hilarious.
Allegedly. Now I didn't hear him say that, but that's the story.
Did you hit it?
No, but one of my friends that did, that's a referee, said
She's been doing referees.
he said that he went to her. I don't know why I'm telling this.
She's like doing the towel boys.
Yeah, no, seriously, seriously,
hilarious.
like, that was her mission in life. But he said that that he went to her house and that she lived with her parents, and that her parents left, and then she had a bunk bed, and he said that he was with her on the bottom bunk bed, and that the whole time she just had like a face like she was crying, like not enjoying it all, like looking away, going, like.
Well, she's got a bunk bed, first of all. This kid is 18,
And
right?
afterwards,
Wow.
I don't even know how old she was, by the way. She's with her, staying with mom and dad, by the way. But she wasn't very
We're
old.
going to assume she was 18 for the sake
this-
of
for
all
the
the
sake of
wrestlers who
this.
banged her.
Right, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
And then afterwards, though, he said that after he was done and she was not into it at all, he said that she climbed up on the top bunk bed and had a life-size like mannequin of Undertaker with a big fucking dildo.
This
on
can't
it. Yeah. And he said she jumped on that thing and was screaming and just sold the fuck out of it. Yeah.
Oh my god.
This is the greatest story I've ever
Well,
heard.
I'm glad I shared it because I feel like,
Holy shit.
something that's
An
more for
Undertaker
behind
man. I wonder if
curtains.
anyone has a Rob Van Dam doll with a dildo on it. What do you think? You guys, you can get those at katequigley.com.
Yeah, that'd be an awesome marketing thing. Kate's gonna sell all the wrestlers with any size dildo you want attached
I'm
to
going to
it.
bang all the wrestler dolls.
No,
Just
you got to
the
get an
dolls,
actual
not the real
cast of each wrestler's dick, and then
Dude,
you make.
I had one, a clonadong, it's called. I got it in a gift bag at they do this celebrity gift giving suite.
Oh yeah, you like.
Yeah.
They give it, yeah. Someone dropped it in my gift bag, and it's like you're supposed to stick your dick in, and it clones it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gave it to someone.
The
else.
girls do that with
I
like
never used it.
pussy
fleshlight.
fleshlights and shit. Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, but I've never heard of a do it at home, make your own dick kit.
Yeah, you
Now
can do whatever you want.
have. Now you have.
Although I did make my own dildo in Pennsylvania, there's a dildo making factory. Well, you can go and you can make your own, and I put my name down the side of it, just like I do to the real dicks. I'm like, my name, I brand them. Just kidding. Oh my God, that's such a good story. Dude, you're so amazing. I'm so glad that you got to come. It went way too fast. So your movie they can get?
Headstrong, and let people in the stand-up comedy world know, because people in the wrestling world know, but we need more views on it. And buy it on iTunes, because I get a much bigger cut then.
iTunes,
That's what it's all
Headstrong.
about.
Go check
Headstrong.
that shit out.
Yeah, and
Pro
they can.
wrestler does stand-up comedy tour with concussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really cool, and I'm glad that you're doing okay. And
Yes.
I think the sunglasses look great. So if that's what you got to wear, it's
How's the vision?
It's good now. Like the double vision is healed that I had from that. It took for fucking ever, but now I've noticed at 48, like just the last few months, that my age is affecting my vision so much. Like I talked to so many people that are my age or close to it, and they all said just like them, it's like instant. Like I was like, it seems like overnight, all of a sudden I'm looking at my phone, I'm like, why are these letters so fucking small?
You had like 3
Everything's
years
too
of
small. Yeah,
3
yeah.
years of fucked up vision, and as
Got
soon
over
as it's
that.
better, he's like,
Boom, I'm
I'm going to sign up with Impact.
That is real. That is real, though. Don't you feel like there's certain things you wake up and it's like one day you're like, I didn't have that, and now I have like 18 wrinkles in this spot. Like there's just shit that suddenly happens.
I need more light. Like if I hold it right under a light, you know, then I'm like, oh, that's what it says.
That is so
but I think
funny.
that happens. I think I saw that whatever's in the back of your eye that makes your eyes dilate or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just to let more and less light in. When you get older, I guess that doesn't work as much.
Doesn't
or
work as
some
good.
shit.
Yeah.
Whatever. Who needs double
I get
vision?
tired. Fuck it.
You see 4 boobs instead of 2. Who gives a fuck?
Yay.
Yay for you. Guys, follow Rob Van Dam. What's your Instagram?
The real RVD everywhere.
The Real RVD. Thank you again for being here.
Thank you.
Brian,
Awesome.
anything you want to plug?
You can follow me at Brian Monarch and check me out at the Comedy Store every Saturday at 7 p.m. in the main room. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you guys know you can follow me at Kate Q Funny. I love you. Please support the advertisers that support the podcast. And this has been Date Fails. Bye.
Sweet.
Did
Dude,
it.
that Undertaker story is the funniest shit I have ever heard in my life. A bunk bed with and she's